Good afternoon, and welcome to the noon meeting of the Tulsa Will Rogers Rotary Club, the friendliest club in District 6110. If you'll stand and as you're able, and we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. You may be seated. I have a moment of inspiration today.
Your mic's not on, I don't know if that matters.
Hello. Nope, doesn't work. Where's my AV gun? Oh, wait. Is it on? Is it on? No. Is this plugged in? Oh, well.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You live by AV, you die by AV. What do you think, Dan?
Looks like it's plugged in.
Okay.
It's all right,
I'll just come around here. My fellow Rotarians, you have this power. This power to use language to share your ideas, to touch hearts, and to bring about change in the world. As Rotarians, we have the power to speak and share, to explain and educate, to inspire and to influence. It is our responsibility to share our talents and ideas and to find meaning in other people's messages. May we use our skills to provide service to others less fortunate and help them to be self-sustaining. May we continue to grow as Rotarians so that we stand in our community as a symbol of those willing to freely put service above self and make this, our community, and the world a better place to live. And today we're going to hear about one of those organizations that helps make our community a better place to live. Announcements, we don't have very many. I laid some stuff on the back table that we went over last week. If you weren't able to be here last week, just some financial information, our calendar through March, always subject to change, and a little bingo game about everybody who got to spend some time on the porch with me. Any other announcements? Yes.
I've got one.
Evan?
I recently joined the board of the American Fundraising Professionals,
Ooh.
the local chapter here, and they're looking forward to National Philanthropy Day, which is in November.
Okay.
If anyone has anyone they'd like to nominate or a group to nominate, wink, wink, Will Rogers Rotary.
Oh.
I can't nominate because I'm here, but there's 4 different categories. If you're interested, email me or text me and I'll send you the link, because they're looking for more nominations.
Cool.
For different philanthropic efforts, whether it's a foundation, a person, there's one for DE&I and something else, I can't remember the 4th.
What, how are they chosen or announced, or is there
There's
like
4 short question answers of
Okay.
who you want to recommend for what group or individual, and it's just about people who do good in the community of Tulsa and help move Tulsa forward in any way. But
Cool.
so yeah, there's a category for foundations and organizations, which I think Lou would qualify for, but since I'm on the board, I can't nominate Will Rogers Rotary, but if y'all want to do that, please let me know. And I'll
Oh,
send
we
you the-
could nominate ourselves.
Someone else could,
Oh, okay,
not you,
okay.
but someone else from the group, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
From
Yeah.
school.
What?
And
From school.
The school could nominate us?
Would that work?
yeah, or someone sitting in here could actually say, hey, my group does this and we're proud of this, so let's do this.
Oh, okay, so we can as Rotarians.
You as president probably could not, but
Okay.
a member could.
A member
But
could.
not myself.
Cool.
Which I'm on board.
All right. Or like Kim's husband could do that, right?
I'll email you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Dan?
Larry Harrell's wife was just, went through surgery on her knee,
Oh, did you, Ann?
and everything's okay, and everything's fine.
Oh, good, okay, very good. That's Ann Harrell.
Yeah.
Who's from Chickasha, Oklahoma, by the way. oh yeah, Laura's not here, but the next time that she is here, she owes a really big fine because she was on TV. That's the biggest fine, right? Laura Garrett. She was on TV for the Alzheimer's walk, so, yeah.
Oh,
I
that's.
mean, if we get on TV at MSNI when we're loading the, container for Ukraine, we're gonna have to pay a fine?
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay a fine, and as
busted?
far as I remember, you're like, Stan, you're like 2 behind.
I wasn't on TV, was I?
Oh.
I don't think I was in the paper, I think.
Okay, well, that's not as big, but TV is big. It's a big fine.
Yeah, you know, I was just in the way when they snapped the shutter.
Okay, anybody else have any brags? Any announcements before we get started with our program, since they just got their food?
Perfect timing.
Okay, today we have, Ellen Stackable and Erica Marley from, Poetic Justice. And I learned about Poetic Justice because they share an office in the Leadership Tulsa building. And through seeing what they do there, it has been amazing to see some of the works of art that have come through and just to hear some of the stories that they've told about some of the folks they've worked with. Ellen is the executive director and founder. She was previously oh my gosh, sorry. She was previously I'm so sorry, high school and community college English teacher. And Erica serves as the director of operation, and she kind of keeps everything going. And I can see that because she's always on the move. So they are in their 10th year, and so without further ado, Ellen and Erica, you can take it over.
We don't let you eat when you come.
That would be bad form. So we want to tell you a little bit about our organization, but also do something very interactive with you. So, are you ready for that? Started 10 years ago, and it kind of came out of my core value as an English teacher that for students to find their own voices, both in writing and in speech, can empower them and give them success as they go through life, to college, to jobs, and even in relationships. And I was doing research on my master's and came on this fact that Oklahoma incarcerates more women than any other state, and in fact, anywhere else in the world, which really was confusing to me. I'm not a native Oklahoman, and I just couldn't understand that. I mean, are the women so terrible in Oklahoma, or is it something else? And so I just wanted to do something, and that's how Poetic Justice started. We are a creative arts and writing program that brings therapeutic and restorative writing and arts to women who are incarcerated. Started off just at the Tulsa County Jail, just half a mile down the street there. And we're now at both the women's prisons and several other counties. We're also in California, Oregon, and Tijuana, Mexico.
Wow.
And wherever we go, it works. We have an amazing group of volunteers. Many of them are teachers, not all, but they love what they do. And we also have a distance learning program that we started during COVID when they locked down all the prisons the 3rd week of March of 2020. And people who are incarcerated had nothing. And so we started as sort of a pen pal and also a writing program where they're paired up with someone on the outside. So I'm going to start with just a little exercise in stereotypes. And I'm going to give you, don't look inside the envelope, just look at the picture I'm handing you. And this is done with the permission of each of the women that you'll be seeing. So look at the picture. Yes, it's a mugshot, no, your best day is not when you get a mugshot. So I want you, if you just had one word to describe that person. One word to describe that person. How would you describe her? That's a scary one. Angry. Okay, angry.
Mine's John.
Okay, just strikes you, she was, just turned 19.
Mine's pretty
She
content.
looks scared. Scared.
I'm kinda lost,
Yeah, that's.
Lost.
lost and kinda confused maybe.
Yeah.
Same with yours?
Lost.
Reflective?
Solemn,
Solemn.
distrustful, kind of, like,
Ooh, yeah, that's a.
Bewildered.
Bewildered.
no, she doesn't know what's gonna happen.
No, that is a very, yeah, it's kind of an angry, distrustful look. And how about yours?
She looks scared.
Scared?
Scared.
I'm not sure whether she looks arrogant or just sad.
Okay.
Oh.
So, how many of these descriptors were positive? I think only yours, Patty.
Well, as I look at it, maybe it is arrogance.
Kinda sad.
Yeah, I would say that would be accurate of that particular. So this is how society judges. Oftentimes, people that are incarcerated. Does anybody know where 1,000 women are housed 45 minutes from Tulsa?
Anywhere.
Well done. Taft, Oklahoma. How about the other 1,000? 1,200 actually.
Mabel Bassett.
Ooh, you must.
Wow.
Okay.
Some
knowledge over here.
No, my first wife went to jail for murder one.
Oh, well, that'll.
Well, at least she didn't kill you.
Didn't get you anyway.
Okay, that's a first.
I got a crash course in criminal justice.
There you go.
You got a crash
This was
That needs to
30.
be on the bingo thing. That needs to be on the bingo card.
This was 32 years ago.
Wow.
And, it was a world-class mess.
So, yes, he's right, that's where we have, and right now at the Tulsa County Jail, there's probably 200. So they are in out of the way places.
And what about the forensic center, Culver East, where they only
The what?
review your file once a year?
Forensic.
Forensic center.
I don't think they house people there.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the Eastern Oklahoma Hospital used to be.
Oh, and Benita.
Oh, Benita, okay,
For
got
mental
it now.
health-
Yeah.
Mental health diagnosis, that's.
Yeah,
what
there
they
aren't
call
very
it.
many women there, I don't think, it's mostly men. We had, one of our volunteers was working on her PhD and worked there. So, what I'd like you to do now is inside the envelope is something that person wrote and a picture of how they chose to be portrayed, that a professional photographer did. So I'd like you to look at that for a minute, read that little poem. Wow.
Who was a photographer?
It's somebody out of Oklahoma City. We had, a documentary that, a company there, pro bono did for us, and, they allowed the guy to go in and take black and white photographs, when we finished the filming of the documentary. And they were in the, Chapel Library, is where they took them.
Yeah, that's great.
So, you get a new word now. Based on what you just read and the photograph, the black and white photograph you saw, how would you describe that person now?
Hopeful.
Hopeful.
Blessed and joyful.
Yeah,
Woo.
what a differance on that one.
Is yours a fresh start?
Yeah, first
A fresh start?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Sacrifice.
Healing.
Yeah.
Healing.
I take back my arrogant comment.
That last line.
She just seems much happier.
Yeah.
For some, I don't know what the reason is. She's happier, but
Confident,
I
hopeful.
can't.
Confident, hopeful.
What's your
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
I can't.
Like sacrificial? Oh yeah, sacrifice.
What's her after?
Well, after reading a poem, she's definitely Native American, but in, what's the word, get rooted. I get rooted, yeah.
Ariel, I hate to be.
Yeah.
How about that one down there?
Wow,
Searching for the word.
she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she is. She's probably my closest friend.
When you're facing law enforcement, you're
And I'm
always
gonna read
have it
this one.
versus-
We're gonna look at something. So, I saw Geneva last night, actually. I go to Eddie Warrior every Monday night, and, she's an amazing person. She has published, books, she's a published poet, nationally known, and this is one of my favorite things. She always said, why do you always just read that one? Because I like it so much. Erica, do you wanna read it?
Yeah. Hope. Hope is the shining thread that binds me to life. It is the knitted ribbon that I wind through the breath of my prayers. Hope is an impregnable shelter against dark, crushing moments. Hope is the drum that turns the earth, a deep, steady rhythm each newborn recognizes as a heartbeat. Hope is the power to rectify wrongs. Hope refuses to be silenced. It is hope that gets up one more time. Hope offers help, kindness, a hand, a hug. Hope builds bridges between colors, ideas, and dreams. Hope honors, encourages, and applauds every effort towards goodness. It comforts failures and always tries again. Hope is an anchor. It is the keystone upon which all things hinge. Hope is the center that holds when all else fails. Geneva.
So, there is more than meets the eye there, and I'd like you just to hear a little bit. We have just a short video, it's about a 9-minute one. I'd like you just to hear a little bit from that. If I can give us. Do you think the audio works?
Yeah, I
Susan?
should check it to see. It does.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think so.
I am an inmate. My name is Offender. My number is 6, the number in thousands of women incarcerated in our state. A number that continues to explode exponentially. I am an inmate. My name is Useless, an addict. My number is 7. The mandatory minimum amount of years due to me for my drug crime. I am an inmate. My name is broken, abused, forgotten. My number is 8, the age of my oldest son when I was locked away. I am an inmate. My name is violent, thief, abuser, monster. I am an inmate. My name is Angelina. My number is 678712, the number of a single mistake and one I must wear for life.
Yes, you may remain. Years later, I smell the freshly cut grass. I blink and I am frozen. I'm 14 again. You come through the door, covered in grass, so happy, so tired. You finally got that John Deere you've always wanted. It would wake me up early in the morning, humming next to my bedroom window. The smell leaking through the old
it's not, I was blessed with my first grandson, with joy and love. The ocean, big, beautiful, oyster. God, why did you create gravity? How do you fly though? Right? Maybe in my next life, you'll have me upstairs as I see this place, but yeah. I'll fly the good day.
Children running and beating their smile. The goods on the reel, stones in the back, and the old folks limbs on the porch or under shade trees walk miles. Committing memories and proudly watching the world fly. I got a joke that I leave on the field or in a body bag. I have someone from the world who comes to the parole hearings and objects to my being released from prison. And I understand his anger. I do. But it also means that it doesn't matter what I do here. It doesn't matter how hard I work or how I improve myself or what classes I take. I mean, it's hard because no matter what you do, it's not good enough. I've made peace with the fact that I'm not going anywhere, and that if I want to have something beyond legal passive, I do that vicariously with the ladies that I work for, because every time one of them leaves and doesn't come back, that's a victory for me. I always joke with them, I say, take a little piece of me out in your pocket, you know, and that's my hope. They like it better when I'm dark, when I'm angry, when I rage, facing injustice, willful stupidity, facing myself. They want me to be this cause's poster child, crippled by others' lives and political aspirations. I am a physical manifestation of the abuse of power. They like it better when I'm dark, when I'm angry, when I rage. 2 decades later, though, all I am is an old broken down convict, too tired to keep fighting, too damaged to climb the soapbox, dreaming only of the sea and surf of home. And one more day in freedom's light. So my first couple weeks out of prison, I stood outside in the rain and I took a bubble bath. It was so good to wake up and just be free. I feel like I did build a meaningful life. I feel like there are things in prison that are good things. They're few, and they're definitely dependent on your willingness to live a certain way. You know, I felt like the state of Oklahoma took everything from me, and so I was going to take everything that I could from them. I want to advocate for women in prison. We wrote a covenant in Poetic Justice, and my covenant was to the abused, the addicted, the incarcerated, and I promised not to disappear into my freedom. People can change and never give up, because the good is coming. It may not look like this for everybody, but yeah, I'm glad I never give up. So this is little notebook I jot things down in sometimes. I just been thinking about time a lot lately and how important it is. Okay. These are the years I have left, offered delicately into an open palm. Precious stones, each one. Every one a priceless raiment. After deceit, destruction, devastation. These are the years I have left. These are the years. Hold them softly, hold them close, for they are all I have left.
Angelina had a training 10 months after she got out.
Oh.
Very unexpected, and they said that it was a pre-existing condition, but it was still, her best friend is Geneva, the one whose picture I showed you. She said she lived more life in those 10 months she was out than most would do in 20 years, so.
Was she the one with the dogs?
Uh-huh.
What was she doing? Was she training?
Yeah, she's a dog. While she was in prison, she went through cosmetology school, she went through college, and she became a certified dog trainer. So she really did take advantage of everything, and she was in part of our classes for several sessions. And you can see what we do in the class. We really try to make a safe space for them to write and process trauma and find healing and find hope. And one of the ways we do that is by not going in as leaders or teachers. We are just facilitators. For women who are incarcerated, they often enter prison having been at the bottom of a hierarchy. And then when they're in prison, it's even worse. Jack said that one of the things, she's the one that said somebody appears in a parole hearing to protest. She actually did make parole a year ago. The parole board signed off, and then the governor didn't sign it. So it was heartbreaking for her. I don't think we ever say that some women who are incarcerated have done nothing wrong. We have the highest level of domestic violence in the United States in Oklahoma, of violence against women. And some of them have done terrible things, but they are all human beings of worth. And they're in a place where they can begin to process that, find healing and hope. And honestly, one of the best parts of my week is spending 2 hours with them, while we write together. We did haikus last night, which was really, really fun.
I also think that with this exercise that we just did, it's really easy to look at that picture, that first picture, and feel like you can paint the whole story. This is a bad person who deserves to be where they're at, and it's easy to just stop right there. It's harder on the outside to look deeper in and challenge yourself about the full story. So what was their life like before this? What access did they have to mental health services? What was their financial status? What was their family like? What was their partner like? There's so many factors that play into the path they were on that led them to prison. But on the outside, it's easy to just stop at the mugshot. It's easy to stop at that one news story and not challenge yourself to look any deeper than that. And I think that's the beauty of our classes, is that we are able to get the narratives that do show the full story. We're looking into what happened before they landed in prison and what their family was like. And as as Ellen said, a lot of them have extremely abusive partners. We have women in our classes who are in prison for life for killing their abuser. Their abuser is out of prison for nothing, or they killed or hurt their abuser. The abuser's out of prison. They got a 10-year sentence. The woman got what? Life, 30 years. The sentences for women are almost always harsher than they are for men.
Why is that?
It's because that's how much justice can you afford.
It is.
It is, and there's also, I mean, it goes a ways back. The first Supreme Court case Ruth Bader Ginsburg ever took was in the state of Oklahoma. And I don't know if any of you remember the days when you only had to be 18 if you were a woman to purchase liquor in Oklahoma, but you had to be 21 if you were a man.
Yes.
And so that is kind of a really odd thing to see that. And what does that say? Is the assumption that women are no better? They're more mature at 18 than men? Or is that then we can manipulate women? I don't know. It is a very complex issue. What we have seen over time is that rural poverty is often really instrumental in a lot of women ending up in prison. And you're right, they have no access to effective justice. We have one of the women that's been part of us for a long time. She's on our board on the inside. She just had her case overturned. She's been in for 20 years.
Can you share what that means?
Overturns means she's innocent.
She's been in for 20 years.
She's been in for 20 years. She worked for the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office. She was watching her boyfriend's young son. He had shaken the baby and then gone on an errand, and while he was gone, the baby collapsed and died, and she got murder of the first degree, and he didn't get any charge.
Which is fairly common for mothers or maternal figures to get a way longer sentence, especially with children. We have a charge called failure to protect in Oklahoma, and a lot of women get slammed with that charge. So if their husband or their boyfriend was abusing their kids, they get slammed with the failure to protect charge and child neglect charge, which is almost always longer than the actual abuse sentence.
My friend Stephanie Horton, who's a public defender here in Tulsa, said they have only charged, in all the years she's done this, she's only seen 2 times when a man was charged with failure to protect. And all the other cases are against women. So
Is that the majority of women in prison in Oklahoma? Is that the charge?
I think
or?
the 16% of women have that failure to protect charge.
But they often get a child neglect or child abuse charge.
Yep.
If you're in a home and there's drugs in the home, and currently with Oklahoma law, you could simple possession's a misdemeanor. And the district attorneys do not like that. And so what they will do in some counties, you could have, in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, you might have this much of a drug and it's just simple possession. If you have that much in Stevens County and you're a woman, it's that you are a drug dealer, intent to distribute. And then if there's a child in the home, they can tack on child abuse, and that is something that will carry you the rest of your life. If you have a child abuse charge on your record, it will determine the job you can get, where you can live, who you can be around. And so it's a lot. And the amazing part is I come away encouraged every single time I meet. I have never met people that are more resilient, more courageous, funnier, more.
I have something to add about the litigatory aspect. You've got some real geniuses working for the DA sometimes. What I mean is these people have an agenda, and and some of them are not all put together correctly. Some of them are not all there. This is this thing with my first wife happened in Cleveland County, and they had an assistant DA that was prosecuting the case. I had to come home on emergency leave from the Navy, from active duty, and I made sure the following morning after the incident happened that I retained the meanest mercenary defense counsel I could find in Cleveland County. He got a murder 1 charge, downgraded manslaughter 1, she got 4 years, clean record.
Wow.
And she was out within 14 months.
Wow.
So it matters.
Well, and you know, there are a lot of organizations around that are working hard to create policy change and to change laws. And while we're not actively creating policy change, our hope is that we have the narrative behind the policy change that changes hearts, right? Because for a lot of people, I think dabbling into the policies and the laws is extremely daunting. But everyone can relate to the human experience, right? And so that's where true change happens, is when these stories are shared and we find that human connection and we understand how deeply complex and complicated these situations are. Everyone can grasp onto a little piece of that.
So tell us about the art.
Yeah.
Well, healing from trauma is a whole body experience. You know, you need to use every part of yourself because it affects every part of yourself. And, you know, they judge trauma in people by something called the Adverse Childhood Experiences test. And there's 10 simple questions. And if you even get more than 3 of those where you answer in the affirmative, they say it affects long-term your physical health and your psychological health. Well, women who are incarcerated often have 6 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. And these are basic things like I knew where I could get my next meal, homelessness, parental abuse, parental separation or imprisonment. So we started really kind of doing more art because we had suggestions from our leaders on the inside. And during the pandemic, we were able to really use that, just kind of simple art exercises along with the writing we would send to them in the mail, just as a way to process things. For them, the pandemic was like the zombie apocalypse. You know, they only had 2 news sources, and they were scared out of their minds about what was going on, as were we. But you know, if you are locked in yourself for 23 out of 24 hours, which they were for months, that's pretty awful. And then if you're in Eddie Warrior, which is an open dorm, you had to sit on your bunk bed 23 out of 24 hours. So the artwork became really important. And then as we came out of the pandemic, we continued to do that. We have a 3-session course that we offer to women who are incarcerated. It's a school year. And the first session, which we're doing now, is really poetry and just establishing a safe place for them to write and feel comfortable. And then session 2, they do storytelling memories. So they get to find those happy memories in their past, write about them, and they put it together as a book and they can send it to their families. And then the 3rd session is passion projects or capstone, and that's where the artwork comes in. I mean, if you saw us walking into Eddie Warrior on our 3rd session, we have boxes and boxes of art stuff for them to use in class. And honestly, the art that they produce, you know, Susie, you've seen it, it's phenomenal. Anything from native beadwork to paintings, to drawings, to children's books that they write.
The one that really got me was one of them did a house, and each room kind of represented what her house was, but also you could see kind of maybe it was hope, but it was also trauma.
And the monster under the bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and they do a lot of these with just materials on hand. And so it's wild walking out of the prison. Like I had a full-size bust of Jack's, wanted to do a bust, and we couldn't bring in plaster of Paris or anything else, so she ended up, she said, I'll figure it out, Ellen. She called it convict engineering. So she had her bunkie. She had a combination of newsprint and tissue paper, and they watered down Elmer's glue, and she put a straw in her mouth, and she basically did a paper mache of her whole front and had to wait till it dried.
Oh my
and
gosh.
then took it off, and we had all these fabulous paints that she could paint it, so it really looks like sort of almost like an oval. It's just beautiful. And then she had to finish it off, and so she said, well, we use floor polish. it works as kind of like a sealant and makes it just look beautiful. And so I walked out that night with Jax's bust in my hands.
Wow.
Our artwork is currently on display at Oklahoma City University. It was here in Tulsa at the old AHA 101 for about 2 months. And we now have a kind of a traveling arts show that kind of goes with their artwork, as well as we had one of our volunteers in California is an internationally known fashion photographer. And she had an idea of taking pictures, going in with her camera and allowing them to decide how they wanted the world to see them. So Jax, when she did Jax, she just has her hands, all you see are her hands, and they're in the dirt because she loves to garden. And there's several that are just their eyes alone, and we had those enlarged to 2 feet by 3 feet, combined with the artwork, and it's stunning when you walk through and see them.
And they have self-representative poems to pair with each portrait as well. So after it leaves Oklahoma, we'll be taking the show into both women's prisons here. And then it's going to travel to San Diego, where it will be in San Diego Public Library for 3 months. And then after it leaves the library, it's going to San Diego State University to be featured in one of their galleries as well. So it's our hope to keep traveling that show across the United States, because like I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of organizations that are creating policy change, but we're providing the story behind that. So simply, the only thing that we're trying to show with this art is that they're all human, and we're trying to display their humanity and their talent and the goodness inside of them. So that's really all it is. It's an overwhelmingly positive show because it gives them that space to show the world who they really are. Yes?
I'm just curious, what is the incarceration rate for males in Oklahoma? Is it pretty high?
It was high up there, yeah. But for 2 decades, women have been number 1.
This is not a new phenomenon.
No,
This was
it's not.
like this 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I had a family member that was a female family member.
Well, and supposedly Oklahoma is now number 2, and Idaho, God bless them, is number 1. But I also had the sheriff administrator of the jail in Bartlesville told me he doesn't think that number is accurate. Here's why. He said they no longer are counting as incarcerated people, women in Oklahoma, the McGirt ones from the ruling where Native Americans are now federally prosecuted. And yet, the Cherokee tribe contracts with the Bartlesville jail to house women that have sentences under like a 2-year sentence. They just house them at the jail there. So he thinks we're still number 1. Other questions?
Any other questions? That was great, thank you guys.
There's a lot.
That is a lot.
Thank you guys.
We do have a website if you want to explore more. It's just poeticjustice.org. I will say, however, it is today currently down. And we are working
Google
on
hates
fixing
us.
that problem.
Second day.
Like literally Google hates us.
But hopefully we'll resolve that issue. And on our website, you can look more into our programs. You can see pictures of the artwork. You can see pictures of the traveling portrait show, and just get more of a feel for our organization as well.
And we're also on social media, Facebook and Instagram.
Oh yeah, we do one.
Where at OCU is the exhibit?
It's in the art building.
Yeah, the North Gallery at the art building, and it's open like from 9 in the morning till 10 at night. Okay. Monday through Friday.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's a nice little sneaky.
You get the
Oh, I
honors
didn't do
of-
this? Oh my goodness.
Ticket number?
Yeah, mix them up.
Okay. The ticket number is 4085036.
Hey! Woo!
Again?
It was rigged.
My X-ray vision.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
And I have something for you all too. I
Oh.
almost forgot. every year, for a while, we have collected the best of the best writing and artwork, and we put together an anthology. And so I would like you all to have this anthology.
Oh, great,
And
thank
just
you,
kind
Ellen.
of peruse it little by little and step into their lives. We also have pictures of the artwork in there too from one of the shows we did.
Great, thank you. So next week, I will be out of town, you will be, it'll be deja vu, because Stan will be leading you, and our guest next week is Patty Palmer, who is the teacher who was on Jeopardy. So I'm sure she'll have some good stories.
Title of the meeting is The Jeopardy Experience.
The Jeopardy Experience, all right. If there's no other announcements or anything, would you stand and we'll recite the 4-way test? Is it the truth? Is it
Fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
You guys have a great week, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks at Will Rogers.
Can you have a look?